What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the RSL. I'm State, with me is Gemini, and we're about to kick off day one of the playoffs here. How you doing, Gemini?
I'm feeling pretty good. We got some great matches coming on up.
And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. As our lovely host had just mentioned, welcome back to the RSL, the rival StarCraft League Season 4, the first season of 2026. The playoffs, we're here, we are back. Bienvenidos, bienvenidos, welcome and all. Once again, just to reiterate, as is stated in the title, as we have held over the past couple of years, or sorry, I should say past couple of seasons, this is a co-stream of the main event of the playoffs, so you can actually hear both State and Gemini, as they're going to be the main casters for at least the first series. I would imagine that Tasteless or Sturgeon, or maybe even one of the other individuals in South Korea might be brought on for the next series, but of course they are going to be covering the main event, and we're here to co-stream. We're here to co-stream, here to help provide some of our own insights, some of our coverage, a bit of a react stream, if you will. Maybe that might be another way of putting it, of course. But of course, we have permission. We do have permission, as we do every single season, and we're back with some RSL. Now, if you're in the chat and if you were able to cover some or able to watch some of the group stage, I would love to know. Unfortunately, we were busy casting other events, so we missed out on the entirety of the group stage for the Revival StarCraft League. So unfortunately, we were not quite aware as to, or I'm not quite aware as to what the games, or how the games did progress, how the games played out, and what some of these players have been doing in recent times in those group stages. Of course, we cover all the other events on a regular basis, but there are some players that are a little bit more rarer when it comes to those events, so it's a little bit more important to keep tabs on their current games. I think a good example of that is Maru, who we have been watching, who we have been casting during GSL, but we did miss out on his group stage matches. Regardless, oh, they got the miniature set. Let's go.
And it's super sick, if I have to say so. Trying to get the light to see it correctly, but you know.
That looks good. This thing's absolutely massive.
They've got the miniatures. They've got it.
Edition, and Archon Studio also sent us a very special video to kind of give a preview here of the box. So how about we go check that out?
I thought they were going to preview it themselves, but sure. Show us what you got.
War is coming with all its glory and all its horror.
I think this is just the YouTube that's on, sorry, the video that's on YouTube. Yeah. So if those are curious, there is a YouTube tutorial video on the miniatures game that was released like 2 weeks ago, and looks like they're playing it here. It's on the Archon Studio YouTube channel. This is for the StarCraft miniatures game, of course, that pre-orders are currently available for the next couple of weeks. There was an unboxing with Hazels. I put it together with Ziggy. I hope they're able to do so during RSL. Hope they're able to do so during the playoffs. Oh wait, no, this is just a trailer. Okay, never mind. Oh.
Pre-orders are available now, and awesome thing that they just presented. I mean, that was a cool video, dude. These figurines look so cool, especially the Nidus Worm and the Goliath. They've got things from the StarCraft 1 campaign, I think it's the StarCraft 2 campaign. It just looks spectacular.
Yeah, I know, the paint jobs on them look really good as well. I mean, once you actually get it all painted and built up, they look identical to the game. So really excited to get those all made up. And yeah, we're going to be going over to the Patreon as well, because we love
I'm tempted to do something more with them. I will see, like, I'm definitely going to be pre-ordering at least the starter set, and probably like a set of Hydras as well. I'm not a painter whatsoever, but you know what, if I ever have some free time, like, I definitely want to devote, want to commit, but we'll see. Exciting stuff nonetheless.
Support anything, that's totally fine, but yeah, go ahead and check it out.
Of course, shout out to the Patreon, exclamation mark RSL in the chat, so you get a link to the Patreon of the RSL to help support the event and support the players.
Discount to all merchandise at tastelessthreads.com. There isn't just RSL merch such as hoodies and shirts and mugs, but there's also some cool Tastosis merchandise, there's stickers, and there's also just a ton of general gaming stuff, which looks really cool.
The bunnies choose the color. No, not like this.
His entire wardrobe is his own merch.
Like,
he wears a ton of his own merch.
You know, like in cartoons when like the main character opens their closet and just the same outfit 20 times in a row. You open Tasteless' closet, it's just a million of his own merch.
But they were showing the bracket earlier, and we do have our upper bracket today. It's going to be Maru versus Zoun and Cure versus Bian.
Also,
Two best
join
of
us
fives.
over on YouTube, youtube.com/@ReviveSC2. We would love you guys to help us over there on the algorithm, of course. We've got lots of you guys joining and subscribing and everything, but we need more. Please just like the videos, comment, say how much you love the events, say how much you hate the event if you want to as well, I guess. Just any engagement is great for us because we want to get everyone to see this stuff. And if you do stuff with our videos, more people will watch it. So do that, please.
Yeah, it sounds corny, but it really is the way the YouTube algorithm works. And
Yeah,
we're
you've
trying to
probably
get
heard
this
this a
into the
million times.
StarCraft 2 bloodstream. Hey, people wouldn't say it if it wasn't true.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
make sure you check out that YouTube.
Yo, we got
And
player
it looks
cams. Let's
Maru
go.
and Zoun are getting ready to kick off the first best of 5 here in the playoffs of RSL Season 4. The map's 10,000 feet, Old Republic Mothership, sets 1, 2, and 3, and then should we go to a 4 and 5? Necropolis, first time I think I'm going to be casting that one here in the RSL.
First time
and
it's
then
actually
potentially
popped up.
Tato Citadel.
Oh.
Is that true?
Yep, first time it's actually gone through the vetoes. So I'm excited. I really would love to see us go to game number 4 so we can get a little peek at that. But for now, we're going to be going into 10,000 feet as our first map between Maru and Zoun, the first match of the playoffs.
Jesus.
Let's
As I was saying, they've kind of gone through the vetoes. We're getting into the first game. One of the exciting things about this event, of course,
Alright,
is that we
game
do
number 1
have
is
a
loaded
custom
up.
map
We are
pool
at
with some
10,000
TLMC
feet.
maps as
Maru
well.
spawning in the top left is the blue Terran with a very early SCV on the map. Zoun, the red Protoss in the bottom right. And I was going to say, heading into
I'll
this
clean up
one,
the overlay.
Gemini, that Maru in a lot of his recent TvP games has been looking really aggressive. Not just with SCV pulls and timing attacks, but also with a lot of proxy barracks play in recent online tournaments. And so I was wondering if we're going to be getting a little bit of a taste of that here between Maru and Zoun in this best of 5 series. And it certainly seems like we're going to be getting something spicy to kick things off already.
Yeah, this SCV is going.
Yeah, when it comes to
really
TvP,
good.
as
It's really
Stay was
slow as
alluding to,
possible,
Maru
but
has been
sounds good. It's
hyper
like a
aggressive. He's been
underarm
hyper
spread.
aggressive in this matchup. We've been seeing a lot of cheese, a lot of all-ins, very little like macro play to Maru. And also, this is a rematch from GSL. True.
What is it? All these
They played a
minerals
couple
hidden
weeks ago.
between
Last
the
week,
national
actually.
expansion and
They played last
third or
week.
fourth base location over here. I don't think Maru is actually going to mine through that.
I guess we kind of
So
jumped right
close.
into it. I mean, that's one of the downsides of co-stream. We're kind of, listening to the streamers themselves. But fun fact, if you weren't here for it last week, we did cast these two playing GSL, and Zoun did defeat Maru. He did defeat him, but where did he beat him? He beat him in the mid to late game, right? Zoun, he was able to embrace a 4-base economy and get into a longer game state. That's where Zoun was able to thrive and able to take down Maru. But now we're loading into smaller maps, right? 10,000 feet, Ruby Rock, Tourmaline. These smaller maps do allow for more aggressive builds, and we do expect to see a lot of all-ins out of Maru to avoid those later games.
But you still could go for a proxy 1-1-1, something you don't see as much anymore at the pro level, but it's something that could still get thrown in here and there, and it's going to
he
get
scouts.
scouted immediately
Let's
as
go.
well. This is great for Zoun, sees everything as early as possible. He can make all that is the correct decisions with whatever he wants, basically. I'm not sure exactly what his response is going to be. We'll see, but he's got all the information right there.
Yeah, that was perfect scouting instinct by Zoun to go to exactly where
wow.
that barracks and factory is. And Zoun going for a little bit of a proxy of his own, adding in 2 additional gateways. Keep in mind, Maru, none of the production is back. Zoun, once warp gate is done, is
As I mentioned here, it's ideal here for Zoun to counterattack, even if he doesn't break into the main base, but to force workers off the middle line and to deny some of the economy to soften this all in, it has a lot of potential.
Liberty game.
I actually kind of love this. This is a perfect game for me to watch because I play against this garbage all the time on ladder, and I get rolled, man. Every single time I have no idea what to do against these builds. It's like always so frustrating. And this is a very interesting, unique response. Going for a straight-up 4-gate on one base with one of them proxied, sending the Stalker across as well. He's not trying to contest the proxy whatsoever. A lot of times you'll see pro players go for like a Zealot, a Stalker, and like a Probe really early to try and deny the SCV, to try and delay if they're getting the factory or the starport up, or maybe you can pick off a few units before anything else spawns. Zoun just being very passive with it, keeping the most of his units at home, but then sending the one across to set up for what should be a very surprising counterattack. Maru should not be expecting this.
All right, warp gate finishing in just a moment as another Chrono Boost gets doppeled onto that. And
We shouldn't really put a lot of emphasis on the counterattack. As you mentioned, the counterattack is going to be forcing SCVs to be pulled, and that's kind of it, right? It's going to be delaying some of the economy. It's still all about Maru's assaults. Zoun, he does invest a lot into the counterattack. That means he's going to have that much less to defend back at home.
Yeah, because
He just knows he's going to preemptively. All right, I love that move here from Zoun. Okay, Cybernetic score getting taken out. Already being rebuilt here in the main base. A couple of Stalkers did get warped in on Maru's side of the map. They're already pushing up the road. That is
breaks in.
4 Stalkers and a Zealot. Oh, these SCVs are in trouble.
Maru, he's committing. Show us the main. Show us the main base.
Nothing at home to defend. It's
He's
only
jumping.
SCVs. So sure, you're going to lose the gateway, the cyber core, but this takes a lot of time for Maru to get this damage, and you're not actually threatening anything severe at this point. The Stalkers are allowed free reign in the main base. Now
the boys are being pulled. He's getting himself the first tank.
Of Zoun,
He gets
so he's
it.
just pulling
He gets
probes,
one.
using batteries defensively.
Oh my God.
One of those pylons does get killed off, so one of those forward batteries is killed. But look at this. Maru has literally no SCVs back at home. He could always recall them as well, so he can just come back for the defense. It's still a little bit tight because, of course, this unit composition from Maru is very deadly, but this is a great position
There's
for
recall.
Zoun.
All right, recall coming in. All the workers of Maru are dead. Now the Stalkers are back in the main base here.
Can he get on top of the tank? He's going for it. There's 2 tanks.
Out a lot of damage on those Stalkers. Oh man, I think Maru might have just barely enough to push through. Despite the fact that he has no income coming in back at home, he has just enough muscle.
Yeah, as we mentioned, like it wasn't about the counterattack, it was about the main push here, and Zoun did warp in too much across the map.
Oh man, that's going to be a tough ask.
Yeah, that was a bit of an unfortunate engagement for Zoun. A couple of his Stalkers were pretty clumped up and got massive hits from the tanks. He also messed up the retreat, getting stuck on some of the units. Maru still able to come out on top, despite Zoun having all of the information and doing exactly what he wanted.
Maru's a stone cold killer, man. That was awesome. I really thought, you know, you lose all the SCVs on your side of the map that early, that surely Zoun's going to have bought enough time on his side of the map that he could recall.
So GG well played. GG well played. As we were trying to say when it came to the game itself, again, I was very surprised to see Zoun warp in 4 units across the map. It was too much. Like, sure, he was able to break into the main and kill the SCVs, but that didn't matter, which is why I was shocked to see that he had committed so much across the map. Eventually, he recalled, but the initial engagement was so crucial. When we saw the first tank going down, if he had an extra 3 units there, it's very likely that he would have killed both tanks. Both tanks would have gone down in that first engage, and then that would have been game. Then and there, Zoun would have held. Again, he could have achieved the same amount of damage he was doing across the map with less units across the map, with less warp-ins and more back at home. So it looks like Zoun kind of misjudged kind of the strength of his defensive position, especially with his shield battery placement. It looked like maybe he was expecting like a frontal assault instead of coming in towards the cliff face. So yeah, a bit of an awkward setup there. I would say misjudgment on Zoun's side. GG. GG well played. Maru does take the first game, and we'll see if he can extend his lead in the series. We'll see if Zoun can bounce back. What I will say is that Zoun, he had the tools to defend. The execution was lacking a little bit there. It doesn't bode well, though. This is one of those games where like you see everything, you know everything, and you kind of like misjudge a little bit, and it costs you the game. And hopefully Zoun can just, you know, shake it off, lock in, come in for game 2. Hopefully.
Maybe a little bit more patience from Zoun, and I don't know if it was hubris or just he thought this was the critical time to try and push Maru back. But in any case, Maru taking game number 1 in this best of 5, and I think it's a pretty big tone setter too, because I came into this one expecting to see aggressive play from Maru, and we just got one of the most aggressive.
So who are these guys? If you're a little bit newer to StarCraft, this is State and Gemini. State, he's been casting in Korea for quite some time. Gemini's been in Korea for quite some time as well. Gemini, he's a big part of like All Things Protoss. If you know anything about All Things Protoss, over on Reddit.
Right across the map. So
and Wall of Guides.
That last game was like, wow, that went pretty well. Even when Zoun did just detrimental economic damage on my side, I'm like, well, okay, I can just kill him anyway.
Are we going to do it again?
So we'll see if he goes for the same thing. Maybe
2 SCVs, another proxy.
A bit of a mind game.
Nah, he's proxying.
Mind, he's sending another one. Okay, there's no mind games here. He is going all out yet again. So I guess this is Maru's bread and butter in this matchup against Zoun for at least. So we'll see if Zoun's got a different response this time when he goes for the scout, or we'll see. I'm not sure exactly what Zoun's going to change up, if anything, when he gets the information.
Yeah, 15 supply barracks, gas at barracks, so it's going to be a proxy Marauder push coming in here from Maru, and oh boy.
There's a switch up.
Zoun was pretty quick at scouting the factory timing and the placement as well in the last game, but in game number 2, we have a no-scout build coming in from Zoun, and this might be him being a little bit greedy. A lot of players, when they go no-scout, they go Nexus before Cybernetics Core, and that is almost a death sentence against this build. I think in theory it is still possible to hold, but
So what's important about this is that we don't expect a scout, and you shouldn't expect a scout here on the Old Republic. This is a larger map, it's a macro map. Like Zoun, especially after game 1, is probably thinking, okay, we're in a larger map, we're a little bit built more towards the mid game here, less of a chance you're going to be cheesing me, so he is going for a very greedy build, and it makes sense on paper here. Unfortunately, the gamble isn't quite paying off, right? There's a bit of a gamble going on here. Maru going for the proxy, unscouted. This is looking ideal for Maru. This is looking like a stronger aggressive build compared to last game for Maru.
This is going to be the worst possible situation for him.
Yeah, in an ideal situation, you would have scouted here as Zoun and would be making a Zealot follow up behind this. You might still be able to hold the natural expansion if you have a Zealot, but just pure Stalkers potentially getting chrono boosted here. I'm not sure that's going to be enough. There's no shield battery here in the natural expansion. Maru has 3 Marauders and Concussive Shell, and he's just going to go. And I'm not sure Zoun is going to be able to stop it. He still has no idea.
I mean, you don't make a battery defensively at this point.
Yeah, it's build order losses are quite rare in StarCraft, but they do happen. They do happen, and that's kind of what we're seeing here, where because Zoun, because of his build, he hasn't seen anything, he hasn't scattered anything, he has nothing to defend. The battery is just too late.
To being done. SCV is also here, of course, to be able to make a bunker if they want to. Can also just body block.
Oh, the boys!
Just immediately getting pulled. That's the only correct decision from Zoun right now. He has to stop this so he can allow the batteries to get up.
All right, Sentry is here. I'm not sure if we have enough energy for Courage here on these Nexus. Zoun's been chrono boosting probes up until this point, and it's 4 Marauders. Okay, man, I thought that force field might have just been able to isolate one of these Marauders, but no, shield battery is done, but the Marauders can just power
I guess one
through.
Marauder.
Oh my goodness, Gemini, I think we have a very quick 2-0 lead here for Maru. I mean, Zhao is still fighting on, but I do not know how you stabilize from here.
This is, I'm not gonna, we're not gonna be the, look at the scan, dude.
Wow, a cherry
Obviously,
on top.
he's trying to get high ground vision to just continue the chain of concussive.
GG, well played. Again, a bit of a build order win here for Maru. Feels bad, man. Zoun went for a very economic, he went for a very greedy build, and it makes sense on a larger map, but Maru happened to be going for a very cheesy, very aggressive, even more so aggressive build, going proxy 2-Rax Marauder. As I mentioned, game 1, there was a chance, there was opportunity, there was even like a stronger possibility that Zoun would defend and take game 1, but here in game 2, I mean, was blindly not scouting, blindly being greedy, blindly going for a more economic build. You take that chance, you take that risk, and sometimes GG. Sometimes it just doesn't pan out. GG, well played. And now we're getting ready for game number 3, and again, this might be a very short series. As I mentioned before, if you missed it last week, we did cast both Maru versus Zoun in GSL, and Zoun did beat Maru. He did beat him, but where did Zoun beat him? In the mid to late game. Right, it was actually on the Old Republic, but Zoun did beat Maru last week, but it was in a macro game. And clearly Maru, he's like, never again. He's like, never again, Bappy. Screw all of that. We're just going to end it early. And I would not be surprised if he does go for another all-in here in game 3. And I wouldn't be surprised if he all-ins every game in this best of 5, even if it goes all the way to game 5. So we're expecting hyper aggression. Now, because of the tone that's been set, we do expect to see a very safe build in game 3. And this is where I mean, what was the map? We saw the maps earlier. This is where we should be seeing very safe build out of Zoun. This is where Maru, as the contour break at the moment, just to, like, you know, pad out some time. But when it comes to game number 3 here, I would love to see Maru be greedy, especially if it's a large map. CC first, like CC first on Winter Madness, CC first on Celestial or White Rabbit would make a lot of sense here. I would love to see Maru shift gears and try to punish Zoun for being overly safe. This is where Mind Game is going to come into play quite heavily coming into game number 3. Does Maru go for another cheese? Does he open greedily instead? Remember, you can go for a greedy build and then just follow it up with a 2-base all-in. Like, 2-base all-ins are very much so a thing in TvP, so that's another possibility for Maru as well. There are a lot of aggressive options for the Terran. So again, we'll see how they do approach each other. For now, though, we're going to be coming to a short break, just because the series is almost over, and hopefully we get more games. Hopefully we get like a game 4 or a game 5. For now, we'll see you guys in a couple of minutes here for the next game. See you soon, Pappy. See you soon. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back to the RSL, the Revival StarCraft League Season 4 2026 Playoffs Day number 1. It's been a very short series so far. Maru with a quick 2-0 over Zoun, and we're hoping for a longer back and forth here, especially because otherwise it'll make for a very short broadcast day. Remember, this is one of our big criticisms of the RSL is that they have a really interesting schedule where they only have 2 series per day. So this is one of them, and there's only one more left. Like this, it's just really short broadcast days, and I might become even shorter here because of how aggressive and how short these series can be, especially with the next one. We'll get there. We'll get there. For now, though, we're jumping to game 3. We're going to be loading into Mothership. Let's go.
Any buildings outside your opponent's base as you don't know where they spawn. But we might still see aggression from Maru. Maybe he'll just put them in the middle of the map and then find the base. Who knows?
All right, Maru spawning here in the top right is the blue Terran, Zoun, and the top left is the red Protoss. And so far we've had 2 very early proxies from Maru. As you said, on Mothership, it's a 3-player map, so you don't know where your opponent has spawned. I feel like we're more likely to see something a little bit more mid-game. I think we might have a natural expansion get set up by one of these guys. Ideally.
Imagine that.
Yeah, imagine.
Yeah, it's kind of weird as Zoun. You haven't really got to play your game here. Maybe he had like specific builds prepared for today. And
so as we mentioned in the lead up to this game, just before the break, we spoke about how we expect to see Zoun be hyper safe and hyper defensive. We are loading into Mothership. Mothership is one of the larger maps of the map pool, that is true, but we have seen, because the bases are so open, because the natural and third are so accessible, we have seen some successful 2-base all-ins. Like, we have seen them on Mothership, so I'm not ruling that out of Maru. Like, in my mind, Maru doesn't want a macro game. He's lost to Zoun in macro games, so I would imagine he wants to still try to end things early if possible. Sure, he might expand, but I'm not ruling out the possibility of 2-base play.
Maru's really back. Like, his form's been very good recently. He's winning a lot of games. We'll have to see what he wants to go for here. The probe did scout the wrong way, so Zoun will find out where Maru is in just a moment. He is going to throw his Nexus down. No eBay block. That's kind of been popular recently, I feel like, but on this map it's harder to go for. And we do see that factory coming down nice and quickly due to the 2-gas opener.
All right, going to be a full wall off here for Maru as Zoun's probe will reach.
So they're kind of glossing over it, but it is a double gas open out of Maru. That means it's more tech heavy. That means that he can go into Reactor Reaper Hellion, he can go into early Mine Drop, he can go into early Banshee play. There's a lot of tech options available for Maru. Technically even 1-base all-ins.
Right now on the Barracks factory, about halfway done. Some light 1-1-1 pressure. I would be surprised if we didn't have an expansion get thrown down in just a minute.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's nice that you got the probe out there.
Whoa. Nice move,
hunting this
Zoun.
down here. Wow. I'm surprised he did that and then the Reaper didn't find it. That's pretty wild. I guess the Reaper's going down here to see where the Protoss is. Maru still doesn't know yet. But nice to keep that probe alive. Maybe you make a pylon with it later on in the game, something like that. And we see it's going to be a Stalker into Adept here for Zoun.
Now, we were curious about the opener here for Maru. As you can see, there are Widow Mines on the way, so it looks like it is going to be a mine drop out of Maru. Now, if you've been watching Maru over the past couple of months, you'll know that Maru is very fond of mid-game mine drop play in TvP. It's very oppressive, it's very intense. Maru's doing something that used to be meta a couple of years ago, but hasn't been meta for quite some time, and that is when you go for mine drops and you do not stop. You don't stop sending Widow Mines across the map, and you eventually overwhelm. You overwhelm your opponents. Now, if you remember, he attempted that last week in GSL against Zoun, but Zoun was able to keep up with the tempo, shut it down, maintain map control, expand, maintain his economy, and overwhelm Maru. Like, it was very, very impressive play out of Zoun. So we'll see if Maru does plan on building up into that macro game off of heavy mine drill play, and we'll see if Zoun can shut it down again.
Yeah, I agree. He's covering like the airspace on that base as well as the ground path. So anything that goes across the map may just get taken out, and then you're going to unburrow them and pick them up in the medevac once that's ready. So you're not really losing anything. We already have 3 mines out, I believe. So he'll go ahead and pick all those up as they do group up here nicely. And then I guess you go for the main here, just looking at the angle of the medevac.
Yeah,
so my eyes are on the production tab, but currently the factory is making a tech lab. I'm curious if we see the factory switch add-ons and then make a reactor and then go into reacted mine from there.
Get a lot of damage done on this medevac before the Widow Mines are able to drop into the main.
Yeah, we have a Raven follow-up as well, so we have to auto terrorize. Okay, the medevac actually flies
into
position. 3 Stalkers. The Widow Mines get dropped. They do manage to get out. Maru, will he choose to detonate these mines or not? Being very annoying retard.
Nice pick off.
1 goes off, gets 2 probes. That's nice. Still 1 more charge on this one. And 3 total with 1 last shot.
Oh, unlucky.
And he does manage to get it off. Okay. So 3 probes and a stalker overall.
Yeah, not too bad there for defense-wise for Zoun having the 3 stalkers in position. But man, Maru just, it seems like he always is able to get a little bit more damage than he should with his Widowmine drops.
Yeah, I feel like if you fly your medevac in and there's 3 stalkers there, you almost shouldn't get anything.
Yeah, but he finds a way.
Yeah, so that was a decent defense out of Zoun. Maru did lose his medevac, which is a little bit brutal. Behind this, you can see he went for the Raven into early stim, into early second racks. So he's going into a very heavy bio composition, and he's going to be skipping tank production. That means that Maru's defenses are actually quite weak. He has vulnerable defenses back at home, and Zoun is counterattacking. The Prism is out. He's moving out across the map. He's looking to strike that main.
Instead, it's just going to be able to drop 1 auto.
So here comes Zoun.
With this one.
You can see Zoun's getting in position outside of the main. Zoun claims the third.
He is going for a third base, but he's also going for, I think, a little bit of blink pressure. Warp Prism and 4 Stalkers already on the front lines. Not 300 minerals banked, so maybe a few more Stalkers going to get warped in, but instead it seems like he's just going to go straight for the drop.
Yeah, there are a lot of units in position to deal with this. It would be nice if you could pick
Yep,
up
there are the
work
Widowmines that we
or
did
two.
mention at the start of the
Blink in.
game.
Got to be careful. You don't want to lose any of these Stalkers early on. Does manage to pick them all up and get out. Nice little pick off there. It's only 1 worker, but you're trying to, you know, equal the game out after you lost 5, right?
Yeah, I like that move by Zoun as another auto turret that's going to pick up, I think, 1 more kill there for Maru. So some really nice moves from Maru too, man. This harassment in the early game has been so annoying for Zoun to deal with, and you know, Zoun hasn't been catastrophic, the defense back at home, but a couple of probes get shaved away here and there. You lose a few stalkers, take some hull damage too. You're not feeling great heading into a mid-game against a Maru who has fully been powering up on 2 bases.
I mean, I would say for the most part, Zoun's defenses have been solid. Like, he hasn't, as I mentioned, like, he hasn't lost any meaningful amount of workers. But remember, Maru went for the earlier stim, earlier combat shields. He went for 0 tanks, so he has an earlier bio push as a result with Widowmine reinforcements.
Just finishing up here for Zoun, so we'll have a lot of production in the near future. Got to keep those tech units alive. Good micro on the Widowmine there. Keeping it alive on Reddit.
Remember, Zoun has no splash damage.
Yeah, Maru pushing closer and closer. A couple of high energy sentries here on the front line.
Yeah, he's not ready for this. Not ready for this early timing.
Just a moment. Charge nearing completion right now. And this choke point actually working against Zoun. Oh, is he going to get that before charge? 1 second away. Oh, barely completes for Zoun. That was a photo finish. So close. And he's going to be very happy to have charge right now, because otherwise this army would just be able to kite him forever as Maru stims forward. A blink forward actually to a concave here for Zoun. He's feeling confident enough to push Maru away.
Yeah, these medevacs healing up the army nicely, though. Maru does have a little bit
Remember, Maru, I believe he hasn't not started the 3rd CC. Like, this is quite committed play. And just now starting a 3rd base. This is a late 3rd out of Maru.
You don't want to send those in.
That was meant to kill.
Maru is throwing down his 3rd CC behind this, so he's not completely all in or anything like that. He will transition.
He was.
He has an upgrade going as well here.
Yeah, I think Maru was hoping to get a little bit more damage done, and honestly, he might have if he was able to snipe that Twilight Council, but instead, Zoun standing strong, able to get a lot of damage on that frontline medevac too. And he's beginning a transition into Colossus, but I think he still has a little bit of fight in him to try and just survive the push.
So you can hear the casters being a little bit more lenient on Maru. The reality here is that Maru needs more damage. Maru, he delayed his 3rd base so heavily. He delayed his eBay and +1 heavily as well. Maru, this had to do more economic damage here, and now he's pushing in. He has to. Oh, nice drop.
Excellent warping in the main as well as the Zealots in the natural.
7 dead
SCVs go down. Zoun needed something there, and that might be the damage he needed, but he's got to keep this base alive down here.
I'm not sure if Maru has enough DPS to focus fire down that Nexus, so instead he's just going to go for the probes right now. This bio very low in HP.
Nice positioning.
It's been stimming a lot. The medevacs are getting close to out of energy right now. As the Immortals look to connect, the medevacs are going to be in position to boost away. Ideally,
there's no dead space
expansion here, but the air blockers make it a little bit tricky here for Maru.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Maru kind of stirs himself into a corner there, nowhere else to retreat to, so he has to pick up. And now here come more units, the warp in. And Maru is going to have to fly home. He might even lose another medevac or 2 here, going straight over these stalkers. He actually, he targets down the front one. Doesn't know which one the units are in, obviously. And
I think Zoun was just looking for any damage he possibly could get. And very quick thinking by Maru with the micro to go purely for the stalkers, because he knows that he's in this corner. He knows that the medevacs are at high risk of being taken out. By focus firing down the stalkers, Zoun really had no opportunity to kill any of those medevacs on the retreat, and in a bioplay like this.
Maru, he gets out. Maru, he does get out. Bearing in mind that Maru, he at least does contain Zoun on 3 bases, so Maru, he has a comparable, if not greater, economy. This is where we have to be a little bit critical of Zoun. Zoun, he does defend. Zoun, he doesn't die. That's true. He didn't really lose many probes, but Zoun has no 4th, right? He has no 4th expansion, so Zoun is falling behind economically.
Coming out from Zoun, another warp in here. Not warp in, sorry. There's more harassment going down there. These mines being dropped.
Oh, the mine
Picking off
drops.
A few more probes. Maru always so good with these unburrows and reburrows being as annoying.
Remember we spoke about this, how Maru's very fond of continued mine drop aggression in the mid game of TvP, and that should be continuing here.
So I must say, and for now the game is going to quiet down a little bit. Both players are powering up now on their 3 bases. Zoun is eyeing a 4th.
Yeah, so it looks like we will get at least one macro game in this series. This game might actually be longer than game 1 and 2 already. But yeah, there's Ghosts on the way. Vikings on the way. I feel like Maru has all the tech he needs. His work account is actually 9 ahead of Zoun, even though he's taken his 4th base now. So I feel like Maru's in a decent position here at the moment. 3 ghosts being made at a time.
So I would say that Maru's he's in a very strong position. Like, it all comes down to the economy. Again, Zoun, his 4th base is so delayed. We were harping on Maru, the fact that he had to find more damage because of his late 3rd expansion, and he was able to find damage. Didn't do any critical damage, but he contained Zoun, right? He was contained, he was kept on a low base count, kept on a low economy as well, to the point where to the point where Maru's been able to recover from that and take a lead from there as well. And that's why that translates into Maru having a larger army.
From now, when he has +1 ground weapons and +1 armor, he might be looking at a near maxed army with a ton of robo units. That's a 3rd robo.
It is, but I'm just looking at the army supply here, and Maru's army is already huge. We talk about in this matchup about how the Protoss wants to get ahead, maybe nearly max out, and then try to trade with the better economy behind it. But I'm looking at this Terran army right now, and I'm a little bit scared for Zoun, I gotta say. He's adding these disruptors now, which can kind of, you know, be a Hail Mary play, get some big shots, get back in the game. Maru is going to start moving down towards this 4th base here.
Yeah, there's no saving the 4th.
I'm not sure Zoun's going to be able to defend it. He is woefully out of position. The Nexus just finished
Now
up.
be sure, Gemini.
Be starting mining, and the Nexus is already going to fall.
Yeah, it just goes down. Zoun doesn't even make the attempt. He knows he can't contest this right now. Probably going to wait for a few disruptors, try to retake that base. Oh, he's actually supply blocked right now. Chrono in that one, but it can't. Well, yeah, it's just nothing making. They're going to make another Nexus down here, but Maru's army
He's going to lose another.
Sees it.
Recall. Every probe gets taken out there before the recall is able to complete.
And Maru's about to max. He's about to max out, and now he can just roll across the map. Again, Zoun just had such a hard time getting into the mid game, getting into a longer game stage, getting to his own economy. He just could not keep up.
The guy's just there waiting for you. Now he's making 2 Nexuses, hoping to at least get one of them up. And
oh, he has to rebuild that Twilight Council too, right? To get +2 ground weapons started. Okay, first disruptor shot coming in there by Zoun. It's
very
a
nice.
pretty heavy one. Now the disruptor does a little bit less damage than it used to, and so it's not able to one-shot those Marauders. A lot of Maru's units will survive, but with only 5 medevacs here on the front lines, anything you can do to chew through that energy is going to be very helpful here for Zoun. He needs all of the work he can put in with these. Getting another Widow Mine is a nice cherry on top.
yeah, it's difficult to push into these disruptor shots as he just layers them one after another. Little run by here of Zealots, but Maru does have, well, actually not enough units in position to deal with that right now. The planetary is not done as well, so he's going to have to send a couple more units down here to deal with this. Some Vikings may land here as well. Going to help out at their damage.
Nice control. Very nice.
Finally.
Oh, the Ghost survives.
That Ghost almost getting taken out by 2 Zealots. Zoun, the silver lining in this game is the Zealot run bys, especially with the Warp Prism play earlier, has been so good for him. But still, the army that Maru has amassed, he's at 61 SCVs, and he is nearly maxed. And I feel like the army supply lies just a little bit here because this is triple robo for Zoun. It's a ton of Immortals, Colossi, and Disruptors. But this is still a
Yo, I think that's the first time I've heard anyone say our line. Este State. Did you hear him? He said, you know what, I think the soup lies a little bit. It's like, yeah, that's...
Yeah, I feel like that's easy.
I think he's the only other person I've heard say that. He's after our hearts, Pappy. Let's go.
Good for Maru, nonetheless. I feel very scared for him pushing
It does lie all the time.
Feeling brave, going to still
You're not
go
wrong.
for it, maybe. Just baiting out these
Preach,
disruptors, trying to look for a window to stem forward and actually get on top of these disruptors.
Nice, Neva.
Takes out a bunch of them instantly. The rest in retreat. Maru not scared of going up this ramp at all. It's just going to push the issue here.
Yeah, Maru continuing to push forward. He wants to take down this Nexus, and he has the DPS to take it down very quickly here. Bio-stimming, once again, very low on energy.
It's not lying this game, but it does lie from time to time.
His army, he's already lost the Colossi. Besides the Disruptors, it's what, 7 Stalkers, 3 Mortals, and a handful of Zealots here in terms of DPS? That's not going to do anything versus a 2-2 Bio army like this one.
Yeah, absolute killer instinct by Maru there. Just picked his moment perfectly. It's difficult to get up the ramp in between those disruptor shots and not just lose a ton of units as you start the engagement. So very well done by him. Zoun still trying to make nexuses across the map, just trying to get...
So just quickly touching on what State was referring to, and he's not wrong in the sense that Zoun has potential because of his high disruptor counts, right? Technically, if his Novas connect, he can take a fight, but that's the only thing he can rely upon. He's down in upgrades, down in economy, down in gateway army supply as well. Like, the Novas are the one thing keeping Zoun in this game, and the problem is that there's just so much more going against him, right? There's just so much more working against him beside those disruptors.
Of these Vikings, but the army of Maru on the front line.
Oh, no, he gets
too much, Sturgeon. That is so much. All the disruptors go down. There's no splash damage here to contest the bio.
We were just saying it. We're like, the one thing keeping him in this game are the disruptors. He loses all 5. Not like this. One disruptor left.
Doesn't look like there's quite enough here.
GG.
3-0 for Maru.
I am glad that we got at least one macro game between these two because I feel like we really needed it. Zoun is a pretty good PBT player, but my goodness, Sturgeon, Maru is looking so good this season.
He's looking amazing. I mean, who's going to take this guy down? I don't know. He showed that he can play the proxies and the long macro games and still look as dominant in both. Maru in top form right now.
Yeah, man, that was wild.
So GG well played. Again, very well done here by Maru. He does claim the series 3-0. They're hyping up Maru, and Maru, he is looking better than he has in like a year or maybe over a year. That is true, I would say that. But if you remember, like, we have seen classic Zoun defeat Maru in the past week. But what's important here is what happened in the games themselves, right? Context does matter. What happened in the series? Zoun, first, Maru cheesed the hell out of Zoun 2 games in a row, of course, as he wanted to try to avoid the late game. And technically, this third game did last a little bit longer, but it's a little bit disingenuous to call this a macro game. I would not. A lot of this came down to the early game aggression. Remember, Maru, he went for a late third. He went for a very, very late third. He went for a late eBay, late +1. He went for a really early stim follow-up after the double gas opener. We were trying to emphasize that. We're trying to emphasize that he was looking for a lot of damage. He was very committed, borderline all in, 2-base all in at Maru. And he was able to trade with the army. More importantly, he was able to trade well enough to keep Zoun contained. Zoun was cutting worker production. Zoun, he didn't get a 4th base. And Zoun, that was the moment where he fell behind. He fell behind in that early to mid game. And Maru just maintained his lead. He just maintained his lead from there. That's when the game was almost decided. I don't want to say that it ended then and there. Like, there were opportunities for sure there for Zoun to recover, but unfortunately he wasn't quite able to take those opportunities, right? He wasn't quite able to have things go his way because there was so much working against him. So from that moment he fell behind and he wasn't able to recover. He was just down in bases, down in workers, down in economy, especially with the mules, of course, being a factor for Maru. There were some really nice Zealot run-bys and Zealot counterattacks. I think they also gave Zoun praise for that, and that kept him in the game, but it wasn't enough to give him a lead or to stabilize. I think I would say that the Zoun at no point really stabilized in that game, unfortunately. But GG well played. Oh, meanwhile, shout out to Tasteless, as he's gonna have a bit of an unboxing. Okay, we will be back soon with our next series with our TvT. See you soon.